Perfect. All right. And we will share the recording with you afterwards. And so now I am going to introduce our speaker today. Today, we are going to hear from Shawna Kempf. Shawna is a certified generational healing coach and also a coach certified through the Achieve program. She leads groups and has some individual clients and has also graduated with a bachelor's in psychology. And this has always been her calling to help others. She is mostly still focused on being a mom to her 4 kids, but she's getting back into coaching and working more. She can't wait to have more time for that. She loves seeing her clients and has new realizations and aha moments together. She is their cheerleader in life. She's been married for almost 20 years and has had the opportunity to live in several different countries, all to help her grow and see and learn new perspectives, languages, and people, always learning to love all people from all around the world. Her and her family call Anderson, South Carolina their home, living there now for over 10 years. Awesome. And I think somewhere in there, maybe we missed it, but she does have four, oh yeah, mom to 4 kids. So busy, busy lady. And I really love listening to Shawna when she gives her presentations. Shawna is always just so full of energy and light and love and passion. And she has a lot of life experience to back up everything that she presents and teaches to us. And I'm just really honored to call her my friend as well as fellow coach. So let's welcome up Shawna today. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Um, so yeah, we just had a really beautiful meditation. So I just want to basically have this time be an extension of that. So I want to give you permission to get really comfortable. It doesn't have to be a perfect view in your house. You can lay on your bed. You can turn off your camera, but definitely have a pen and paper because I really would hope that you get a few things out of today. And yeah, I want this to be really relaxing because the topic is on rest. And most of the time we're super busy. So, and I know some of you are even working right now and listening to me, and I really appreciate it. So, but yeah, if you can, definitely just take a moment to rest, get comfortable, get your body comfortable. Because when your body is comfortable, then you'll receive more. So my husband recommended that I sit right here so that you can stare at that beautiful tree, or you can stare at my pretty face, but mostly that tree. And this whole time, I thought I was going to have to move because there was like a loud lawnmower right around me. But guess what? It just stopped, like as Kendra was finishing her introduction. So I was like, thank you, God. Here we go. You can look into this beauty. So let me begin by hopefully doing this correctly, and hopefully you see my slides. And let me know if you see my slide, or it should be coming up. Do you see it?
Not yet.
You do?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I am co-host, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me try again. You still see my face?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to start slideshow. Presenter view. What about now?
We still see you.
Oh my God, how wonderful is that?
When you do share,
Oh
you,
yeah, wait, that's what I'm forgetting. Wait, I have to do share my screen.
yes,
Thank you,
yes, yes,
Kendra.
share your
That's what it's
screen.
called. It's called share my screen. I forgot that, most important spot. Okay, great. Now I go into, yes. Okay, we'll get there.
Yes. Um, well, it's dark, but it
It's
says you've
loading.
started
It's
sharing.
loading.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so today's topic is the rhythm of rest. The rhythm of
There it
rest,
is.
using the Sabbath as God's gift. Using the Sabbath as God's gift. Here we go. Presenter view, and we shall commence.
Perfect. You're good to go.
Okay, so I hope you're looking at a beautiful picture because there's not that many slides. I don't want this. I don't want this to be long. I'm watching my time because mostly, yeah. I hope you get a few good things out of this, and then I would love for us to discuss. I want us to. I want to hear about you. And at the very end, my last slide is discussion questions. So yes, keep that in mind. The rhythm of rest, using the Sabbath as God's gift. And hopefully you're hearing the birds behind me because that's another plus. So the brief history of a day of rest. When the day of rest originated, it began several thousand years ago when an ancient tribe, I'm sure you've heard of them, called the Hebrews, started observing a weekly day of rest. They either called it Shabbat or Sabbath. This was enshrined in the fourth commandment. The fact that a few people just put down their plows and took a day off might not sound like much, but it was huge. First, it actually gave us the week. Without a day off, how did anyone know when one sets of days ended and another began? It was endless, day after day. And in terms of parenting, I always think, man, it'd be so lovely if there was one consistent day off, whatever reprieve that would be. But Shabbat or Sabbath gave us defined times, and it was a sacred time. Time to work. There was a time to work, and there was a time to rest and recover and to connect and to do the big picture thinking that drives culture forward. Shabbat redefined time and how we spend it. Over the course of the millennia, other cultures as well as civil groups would develop similar observances. The need to pause and recharge is universal. Most religions have some sort of rest day. For Christians, it's Sunday. For Muslims, Friday became a communal worship and family time. Buddhists also observe a period of rest and communal worship called Uposatha. During the new moon, a lot of the Native American Indian tribes traditionally abstained from work for a period known as non-days, or they called it untime. In the 19th and 20th centuries, secular movements like labor unions would call for such needed days off as well. The Sabbath was by biblical decree meant to be a delight, okay, joy. It also had the quality of joy. So, the creation story. You've probably heard of this creation story, very famous, Genesis 2:2. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. Okay, that's another word we're going to remember, holy. Because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. And of course, there's so many other cross references to the Sabbath or to the word holy or to the word rest. These are just two other ones that I chose, but there's so many in the Bible. Hebrews 4, there remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For whoever enters God's rest also rests from his own work, just as God did from his. Another quote, Isaiah, blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who holds it fast, who keeps the Sabbath, keeps it without profaning it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. So I don't know how you imagine rest and how you imagine God resting. When I saw this picture, I thought, yeah, maybe, just maybe, after you complete all your work, after God completed everything and created everything, he's looking at it. He's looking at his work and his wonder. This is from Exodus, where God gave the Israelites the 10 commandments through Moses. And this is the fourth commandment. God says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all of your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. Oh, not FOD, God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son. And it's very interesting. It goes on and on. Your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. So another interesting point about Sabbath is it's something we take rest, and it's also something you're supposed to give. And this was like something that equalized everyone, because on that day, everyone was actually equal. Everyone was actually not working. For in 6 days of the Lord made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So, what happens when we actually stop? First, God says, remember the Sabbath, and then remember to stop. What happens when we stop? Well, when I stop, I can actually start thinking, I can actually start feeling, and I can actually start hearing the birds. I can finally hear the birds. Secondly, keep it holy. It is set apart for God, which elevates Sabbath rest to more than just checking out and staring at a blank wall, which sometimes is also essential. So I'm not gonna say anything bad, because sometimes you just gotta be like, oh my God, and stare at a blank wall. But the holy part is the rejuvenation that God offers when we choose to abide, to sit in it, to feel it. And on that day, in that time, we're supposed to remember God. We're deciding to shift from human doings to human beings and turning our hearts towards God. The word Sabbath actually means to cease from working. Cease from working. This rhythm was built into the ancient days and even our days for decades as businesses shut down on Sundays. But what was once built in rhythm has now become a matter of choice. Y'all, we know the world is moving faster and faster, smarter and smarter. I just finished a book called 24/6, and this talks about basically having a technology tech Sabbath. Technology tech Sabbath. Because our phones, I love it so much. I want it all the time. It's instant all the time, but also it means we're accessible. We're accessible all the time. And now we can really buy anything, anytime, anywhere. And sometimes that makes us think that we can also do anything, anytime, anywhere. Um, but God has not changed. Nothing is getting simpler for sure. God, in his infinite wisdom, chose the seventh day of creation to bestow the gift of rest to the world. And by the way, that was before sin, right? Before actually sin entered. So we know it was good. And actually, it was more than good, it was holy. So, what's holy? Holy. Because everything God does is holy. So yeah, once I first kind of started studying about this topic of rest and holy and stopping, and I thought, yeah, did God need to rest? Was it tired? Was God tired? Maybe. Um, or maybe he did not need to rest because he was tired, or maybe he was tired, but also he rested because he's holy, and it reveals an important part of his character. He has restraint. This was interesting for me to think that there's restraint in stopping. Um, God stops. He chooses to stop. And we know that we're made in his image. And by the way, our identity is not in the world, in the work that we do either. God says, um, God actually gives us an invitation and permission granted from our creator to slow down, and actually to stop. And while we're stopping, to remember him, to make space for his presence. This is not a one time gift, it is built into the foundation of life. It's a standing invitation to keep coming back to him, to keep coming back to him. Um, my husband just walked in, so his presence is reminding me to also share something. Um, One of my husband's critique of me is is honey, I'm live. Is I wish I saw your faces right now. Is create space. I also really love to stuff things in. Like if there's a space in my calendar, in my schedule, well, look, what are we going to do about it? Let's put something in there. Let's go. And my husband wants me to create more space. And last night he called me on his way back from work, and he was like, "Hey, you got any plans?" Because he knows me. He knows me. I love plans. Let's do it. I'm like, well, unfortunately, no plans. Guess we'll just be staying home. And it's a place where I struggle with often. But because I did not have plans, and because there was nothing to do, nowhere to go, we then got to have a beautiful moment out here. Campfire, children, friends, their friends over, baking potatoes in the fire, s'mores. Um, and I got to sit here, and I got to sit and watch and enjoy kind of a perfect moment. And it's when you have space, don't worry, I'm telling this to myself. When I have space, uh, first of all, my husband's happier, but you can actually sit and feel and think and enjoy. And hopefully, in that space, also thinking about God, inviting Him, and thinking about, your blessings, your gratitudes, meditating. How does rest look like for you? So this is about, I'm sharing my kind of story and my kind of schedule, but how do we do this? What does it look like for you? I'm not here to define it. Okay, I can't define it for you. Um, for example, let's say you work really hard with your brain. Maybe rest means you coming home and working with your hands and being creative. Maybe you work with your hands, and sometimes, rest is actually doing like a word puzzle. Or I know I kind of long for like uh, my days at home with the kids. I kind of want to like work my brain or do like a word search or research vocabulary or like little basic things. Um, and why do we do this? For our own holiness and walk with God. It's a time to listen to God, a time to listen to your deep, your deep heart, your conscious. It's a time to feel. It's a time to remember Him and all the goodness we have. Another reason, it's for our children. It sets them up for their future and defines what's important. I know my kids are getting older and older, and we do have not too many, but some weeks where when kids get older, it's hard and harder to keep some space, to keep rest. So much can interfere. Sports, activities, events, school. But this is a gift we get to impart to them now. And we're not this is not about a list of rules, although of course traditionally there was a ton of rules, and everyone in different faiths practices it a different way. But really, it's the intention behind this commandment, because this is actually one of the commandments, is to remember the Sabbath. It's a holy day of rest, and God wants to bless us on this day. It's a special something. It's a unique something. This beautiful quote here from Matthew: "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." What do you need to rest from today? Take a moment, take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart, and think. My husband's pointing to the children. Yes, I would love to rest more from them. Rest from what? Maybe you need to put down your burden of being hurt. Maybe you can rest from your labor. Maybe you can rest from a fast pace that you keep up. Maybe you can rest from speed of change. Maybe you can rest from your job. Maybe you can rest from this thing, information overload. Maybe you can rest from consuming, from getting, from spending. There's all types. Okay, these are just ideas that I'm giving you, but you think about, what does rest look like for you, and how would you like to practice this in your daily life? I can't define that. That is something for you to do. How good are you at stopping? Woo! How good are you at stopping? Well, a lot of us are not very good. God says work and then stop. Y'all, that's hard to do. Um, Completing the work is not the goal. Completing the work, I know my husband was just like, wait, what? It's not the goal. I know. We kind of differ here, but I used to, every night is different, but I used to only let myself sit down finally when the kitchen was perfectly clean. Like all the dishes need to be done, the table, like the food, everything needs to be put away, everything. But sometimes I wonder if also we can sometimes let ourselves sit kind of in the mess, let ourselves sit when things are not done. And yes, there will be preparation and planning involved. If you actually want to have a whole Sabbath day of 24 hours, yes, you have to prepare and plan for it. Okay, I heard an interesting story I'd like to share from the Bible. I will find it. So this is from Exodus 16. A very interesting story. It's a whole story, but here's just a summarization. Okay, there's the biblical story in Exodus about the Israelites, right? They left Egypt and they were in the desert of sin, and there was a lot of complaining. Yeah, they complained a lot, actually. about a lot of things, but mostly about a lack of food. And God promised to provide for them daily the bread from heaven, which they called manna. And God gave specific instructions regarding this bread. He said that they can gather a daily portion, just a daily portion, day to day. The people were to gather only enough manna for their needs for that specific day. This is an interesting point also about this whole day to day thing. To not keep any overnight, Moses explicitly commanded no one is to keep any of it until morning. And on the sixth day, right before Sabbath, you can gather. You are allowed to gather a double portion on the day before the Sabbath, the rest day. They were to gather a double portion so that it would last the next day too. And so there was this incident with the maggots. Despite the clear instructions, some individuals ignored Moses's command, not surprised at all, because that's what we love to do, and saved some of the manna until the next morning. Maybe because they were scared or they didn't trust, or that, maybe they didn't think God would provide again, or simply out of greed. The result of this disobedience was that the leftover manna became full of maggots and began to smell. Now, in contrast, the double portion that was gathered on the sixth day, as instructed by God, did not spoil or have maggots when kept overnight for the Sabbath. So it's an interesting story. When I heard about this first, the incident serves as a lesson in trust and obedience and this daily reliance on God's provision. By providing fresh manna daily and making extra portions spoil, God was teaching the Israelites not to hoard, but to trust that their needs would be met. It's a day by day thing. I never thought about this whole day by day. The event was also reinforced. It also reinforced the importance of observing the Sabbath day as a day of rest. So to not gather any food that day. The work may not get done, but stopping is the choice, and remembering to stop is the point. So there's an intention. It's about the intent behind the law. God's intent is rest, which is meant to be a refuge. This is meant to be a refuge, not a prison. It's a gift that he invites us into, not a burden. It's not a set of rules. You can do this, you can't do that. Like, I know the traditional, you know, people, like they had a long list of things that they were allowed and were not allowed to do on that day, and still it's practiced. But really, it's the intent, and you have to figure out how it will look like for you. I'm not going to define that. Be still and ideas will come to you. Here's some ideas. My ideas, our ideas. You can keep your phone off for 24 hours, like the tech Sabbath, like the book 24/6. You can trade phones with your spouse for 24 hours, especially perfect on date night so that you can focus on each other. Keep phones in a box during designated times, like meals or TV time. Take your Bible to the bathroom instead of your phone. Whoo, that'd be hard. But take your Bible, or take an actual book, a good something to put, to start eating and mulling over instead of your phone, and instead of all that scrolling that I can so easily do. Cook ahead and prepare for less in the kitchen on Sabbath day. Use paper plates. Put a self-serve breakfast out so you can sleep in, especially for moms of young children, or moms of young children. Designate some quiet toys that are special for that Sabbath only day. Decide what your family will do and guard it. The day doesn't matter. The goal is to remember to actually sometimes stop and sit and prioritize it and keep it holy. Just a random quote that I really like, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. I think only when we're still, yeah, We really become human beings, and we can actually think again and reflect. It's a time for reflection. It's a time for feeling. It's a time for remembering the goodness of God. Um, Wait, did I do that other one? Oh yeah, I did. So 24 minutes in, here are some discussion questions. Take a moment to write this down. Um, Take a moment to write this down, and we can also open this up in a minute or two and actually talk. And actually, I would love to hear how things are and what what your takeaways are and what you would like to bring into your new days and your new weeks. Another thing I forgot to mention, um, yeah, before living here in America and South Carolina, yeah, we lived in France. My husband is German, but he lived in he lived in France since he was uh, 9 years old. Since he was 9 years old, and we did about 6 years in France. And I think, yeah, living in France really, really, um, yeah, just life was different and things were calmer, and there was definitely more of culturally speaking, there was patience, there was quiet, there was time. um there was a long time to eat, there was a long time to sit, there was a long time to enjoy. Um and yeah, I think that was really, really good for me because it's really hard to do. But it gave me, um, yeah, a solid, actually, desire to take more time for things, even like, with friendships or eating or, um, yeah. So, and once we drove from where we lived in France and we drove all the way down to Spain, I remember. Um, and we arrived, I don't know, sometime in the afternoon. And I was like, great, let's go. What are we going to see? What are we going to do? Well, guess what? Everything was closed. I'll never forget. I was like, everything was closed because they're all resting right there. It's all their siesta time. And yeah. So here's some discussion questions. I will now stop sharing, although hopefully you wrote some of these down, or I can put them in the group chat. And I would love to see everyone's faces now. Hopefully, y'all all heard me. So I just want to open it up to you all, and you can all share. Do you hear this beautiful bird? Right? What do you want to create space for? What would you like to do more?
Shawna, do you see your dad has hand up?
Oh, okay. Hey, Dad.
Yeah, that was a most excellent presentation. Very different than what I expected was going to happen. But my comment or my thought is, you know, in this, I we were designed to stop. I mean, think about it. You cannot go 24 hours without sleeping. If you don't sleep and stop your entire body from everything, including your conscious thoughts, I mean, people, you can't live that way. It's amazing that everything God designed goes in a circle. Everything is in a cycle, and even the 24-hour period is an incredible cycle. And when we're sleeping, our body is, our mind is completely shut off. We might have dreams or something, but our body is rejuvenating itself. It's remarkable that it's it's a completely physical reality that we should be resting. So it shouldn't be a surprise for any of us that it's necessary for us to stop moving, stop doing the things you're doing, and take a little time to kind of reflect and think, hey, do I want to keep doing this? Maybe I'm caught up in something I don't even want to keep doing, and if you don't stop, you won't realize that because we get caught up. But that part that everything is a cycle, even 7 days, even a month, the moon, even a year, even of course, we know that even for women, there's a cycle of life, when you can give a new life to someone. So I was really inspired by this presentation because it reminded me that it's true, that seventh day. And also, I guess the first time God used the word holy was when he was talking about the Sabbath. So wow, that's really significant that the word holy would be introduced when God is saying, now it's time to stop. And the point being, how many of us think about living in the moment? In recent years, everybody talks about, stop and smell the roses, living in the moment. And unfortunately, I think, this is, I'm not speaking ill of religion or anything, but generally speaking, people get so caught up in their theology and their beliefs and the things that they're caught up in that they're not stopping to reflect and maybe, at some point you need to go another direction because God wants you to do something different. But anyway, I don't want to take up the whole time, but I really appreciated this conversation, and especially that God already created us, even in a 24-hour period. You've got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad. Yeah, thank you very much for bringing that up because I totally forgot to talk all about the whole like design and yeah, it's so right. Just and I guess I think I also have been thinking a lot more about this because it's springtime and it's like everything now is like coming back to life. But before spring, it was winter and it everything looked very different and it's like every year it's the same thing and our bodies need that time too. I'm not always going to be happy. I'm not always going to be, desiring to do certain things, like my body's changing and got to go with it. Thank you, Dad. Yes.
Shauna, I love a lot of the different points that you made, and one of them stuck out that was really cool that you may need rest in a specific way that's the opposite of what you've been doing, right? So I sit a lot, doing sessions and things all day. My rest is actually when I go for a walk because I'm doing the opposite of sitting. And when I do my stretching and my exercise, and that is my rest, my body feels like, oh, it's so nice. But it's not like it's opposite. It's not sitting, which you think of rest as to sit, but actually, my rest is to move because I'm doing the opposite of what my work is. Isn't that funny? And that's so cool. I love that because that can count for me. I'm like, oh no, when do I rest? If I go on a walk, does that count as rest? Yeah, because it's the opposite of my work. So I loved that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendra. Yeah. Yeah. If we're sitting, then our bodies are, they want to do something.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi. So I just want to share very quickly. So I had the opposite experience from the speaker, where I grew up in Poland and then I moved to the United States. And being like an intense person, just by nature, I actually love the no rest idea in the States. So I actually worked myself hard for many years before, I started meeting people and they said, "Oh, you grew up in Europe. It's so cool. You take time to eat, you take time to meet friends. And so I am personally kind of, raising children in the United States. I'm trying to kind of like find this balance, to just tell them like it's okay to have time off because as a society, they're exposed to just like a constant go. Like everybody has to do a sport. Like when I first came, like I completely didn't understand it till you have kids in middle school or high school, right? So anyway, totally opposite experience, but I'm definitely working on having a balance.
Thank you. Thank you, Dagmara. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I knew Yana would share next. Yana lived in Norway, so
Yeah, oh yeah, the rest. But even moving from the East Coast to the West Coast in Colorado now, I noticed a difference there too. It was like from New Jersey and Denver, it's very like different pace, and I'm really appreciating rest. And when Shauna reached out to me about this, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about Sabbath because I think it was last Sunday I was sitting in the chair, just sitting, resting. And then I was like, okay, what do I need to do? Like laundry, dishes. And then I was like, wait, if I really was Sabbath, right? Like we wouldn't do it's like any of that. It's kind of like the weekend. It's like it's work, but it's a different type of work. But and I appreciated that in yeah, hearing all those stories from the Bible too. I thought it was really cool to go back to what the Sabbath is about. I relate a lot to what Kendra was saying because for me, my work has shifted. I used to do a lot of work, computer and sessions, and then now I'm doing a lot more with my hands, creative artwork, still computer things too. But I was like, yeah, what does rest look like for me now? I feel like that's different. So I really like that question. And as a family, rhythm. And I love the idea of practicing Sabbath. And I think my concepts of what it is, like to really just not do anything is, yeah, I'm actually kind of slightly a question, but I loved what you said, like the 24-hour, no, like turn off the phones completely. We started trying to go into nature on Sundays, which is a really nice way to like be with God. And then we sort of stopped. But yeah, I'm curious to hear other people's ideas or if Shauna other ideas of like, um, I guess not the rules, but yeah, some things of what people like really just don't do on Sabbath. Because I get a lot of joy out of cleaning and organizing the house. Like it helps me relax. So I think there is something with that. But I was also like curious just to hear other people's ideas of rest and things because or like what they just don't do for a day. You can do for a day, you can let it go. So I really like that. Anyway, so it's kind of like a question slash discussion point was there, but I'm curious to hear more from people. Yana, one thing that I have done for the last probably decade is I have the same meal every Sunday that my kids love. We have orange chicken and rice and edamame every Sunday, so I don't have to think about what I'm gonna make. And I always have it in the freezer, and it's just instant, and I don't have to go to the store, and I don't have to plan. So it actually takes a lot of the burden off that having the exact same meal that doesn't require a lot of prep, always available. And so it's for me, it's a rest. I'm like, oh, I don't have to worry about dinner. That's one way. And I remember my grandma said she always had her kids eat cereal every Sunday night, cereal, because they were pastors. And so it was a lot of work. And they would come home and my grandma said she never cooked on Sunday. It was the cereal for dinner every every week. So I think that's a way maybe is like work out how are you not stressing about the big meal, Sunday dinner on Sundays. I love that. Thanks. Yeah.
thank you, Yana. Glad you've been reflecting about rest.
I think we have to think about what does rest do for me. I've often thought about, I'm so grateful that the stores are closed on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I like to drive late at night when everybody's about ready to go to bed, and it makes me feel so peaceful. to think you're going through all your neighborhoods, and especially like in the summer when it's so hot and then the weather gets really cool, and finally you have a moment and you're driving, and I think every home is about ready to go to bed. And what are those families doing? They're getting ready for lunch boxes, and parents are excited for their kids to go to bed. That really gives me peace and calmness and feeling like I belong to a community, even though I don't know who is in that house. It brings me much sereneness. And for me, I think like Yane was saying, for me, washing the dishes and sweeping, I get the best ideas when I'm using my body. And everybody is totally different. But rest, I think it means to find oneness with yourself and to find out what do you want and what do you need and what do you want to give. So I wish some days that all stores and all shops would close on Sunday. Chick-fil-A is doing it, right? But wouldn't it be nice? Just so peaceful and quiet, and people just have to organize better. But thank you for the word rest, Shawna. Thanks.
Thank you, Mama. Yeah, so glad. Yeah, just take it and relate it to you, make personalize it for you and for your family schedule, Oh, yes, hello.
I grew up the way that if we did, because I grew up in a farm, that if we do farm work, my mother believed it's a sin and will be punished, and that any kind of work is no good. So it's, yeah, and of course, here in America, we never stop, never stop. And then we have Christian friends who put their phones down on Friday night and don't use it for 24 hours. And we've been trying to do that, but we are not being able to do that. But I love this flexibility. You do what is good for you and find a way. And maybe at least take a half a day off or something like that. So yeah, it was really good. I think it's really good that we take this time. Our bodies need it. Our mind needs it. This information overload, I think that's what I need to do. Cut from that. It's too much. So yeah, thank you so much. It was really nice. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Amina.
Raising her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, thank you so much for the beautiful presentation. I have 3 things to explain about the rest. My background is a teacher. Whenever I would finish teaching, when I come back home, I did not want anything, not even a spoon, not anyone, even none of my sisters, nobody should knock on the door. 5 minutes would be enough. I didn't know the meaning of that. I appreciate what you've been teaching. And secondly, when I got married, the country I went to, when it comes to lunchtime, the way you said, all shops are closed everywhere. Everybody goes back home. To me, from the country I came from, I saw it as something slow. And I didn't like it because I would say now they are going for lunch. By the time they come back, it will be too late for me to do, because that time I was doing some fundraising. So I didn't like it because everywhere is closed. But I came in terms with it. And then thirdly, my husband. My husband would tell me, I'm resting, please. And I would say, what sort of person is this one? He says he's taking a rest. Actually, my children have also taken to that. Now I understand it. Thank you so much for that explanation. Because in their country, okay, in their schools, I understand after lunch, they would take a nap. I think it countrywide, and then they go back for the afternoon classes. So that is stuck in him. So now I understand it. When he tells me I'm resting, then I'll leave him. Thank you so much for that explanation.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Hello, Dora.
Hi, yeah, I thought at least introduce myself. I'm actually from North Carolina, but right now I'm in Florida, and Lisa invited me. But I grew up in Paraguay, in South America. And it was very interesting to me when you mentioned you went to Spain and talking about siesta. That's what happens. In Paraguay, we always take time to have a little mat in the morning together. And in the late afternoon, usually a tereré, they call it, the yerba mate, the peace pipe goes around. After COVID, people usually have their individual, but we sit together and take time to just share something. And it doesn't happen here, right? But my husband's from Brazil. He likes to do a little mat in the morning, and I really start to enjoy it. Just the smell of it and being together for like 15, 30 minutes is so great. Yeah. And I also thought when you mentioned when we, I think when we get older, we think more about being instead of doing, right? So it's so true. Yeah, thank you so much. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dora. Thank you
Okay.
for introducing yourself to us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything? Takeaway, realization, or any of the questions? What rhythms of rest does your family prioritize? What keeps you from resting, even when you know you need it? What keeps you from resting? Or if you could design a day or even an hour that refreshes your soul and drew you closer to God, what would it look like if you could design a day or an hour? And then also, you can, if you want to share, name one thing you will do or not do to prioritize Sabbath rest. Those are just some ideas.
Claudine had her hand up.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Mm.
Yeah, for me, I have a different way I understand. Yeah, I am the mom for 8 kids. When I was young, I didn't take rest. I was nurse in my country. When I come home, if I didn't done all my job at home, and I just come, I start cooking, I start cleaning, you put this, you do this. It was I was very busy. But when I need to take rest, if I didn't done my job, I cannot take rest. If I sit down, but my brain is still working, I say, I need to do this. I need to do this to finish my job. But when I make plan and my children grow up, now they say, if mom come back, we didn't do this, we didn't do this. She's going to do that. But now they take responsibility. When they know if mom come from work, she don't like to find this on this way. They take responsibility, they do everything. And when I come back, I see everything is okay. Now I can take rest. But when I was young, I can work until midnight. I need to put everything and I go to bed. I need to wake up and early again, I go to work. And now I understand how to take rest is very important. If you don't take rest, your body become weak early, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. If you take rest, you make again strong in your body. And now I understand the meaning of to take rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Claudine. Yeah. With little kids, I mean, there's definitely not much rest, and then plus working, not much rest. But yeah, I'm trying to make it like a practice. It's kind of like a practice. It's to make myself sit, especially when there's stuff I could do around me, and then kind of like almost making it like a training for me, like sit and look at it. Sit and just watch it not being done, and then having a whole like spiritual practice of calming myself and blah blah blah. It's interesting, it's fascinating, it's weird, but yeah, I'm so glad that now, yeah, you're resting.
Yeah, that's what Shawna, you said. Rest is really, it was restraint. That was really
Yes.
cool. It's
Yes.
not you're just being lazy or you're not doing, you're actually restraining
Yes.
from doing something. That's like self-control.
Yes.
That's awesome. It's true. It's restraint.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not going to stay up late doing the dishes and cleaning the kitchen and all the things. If I know I'm tired and I need to go to bed, I'm choosing my own self-care over the house being perfectly clean, right? That's hard for
Yeah.
some people. For me,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's restraint. So
Yeah.
that's cool. I like looking at it that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Because I was thinking, I mean, yeah, thought a lot about God and what it must be like for the Creator, and I think that quality of restraint, that quality of control, that quality of now we're stopping, and now we're gonna sit and enjoy and watch and ponder, and I'm like, okay, I like that, different.
Just adding one thing with creative
Anybody
work.
else? We have some time. I
Adding
want there to
one.
be lots of time for talking. So if you have another share, please go on.
I was going to add one quick thing, and I see
Yes.
Aunt Patty too. But I was just going to say on creative work too, that's the same. Like I had a design coach and she was saying, your best ideas often come a week after. So you need to literally, you want to jump in and create, but you need to pause and like think about things before you start creating. And yeah, just made me think. I think about God a lot with that, why it's actually more productive to pause.
Thank you, Yana. Yes, definitely a whole thing about creativity. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I just want to follow up on, I think that was Dora that mentioned, about like having 15 or 20 minutes in the morning to like enjoy tea. So I think for myself, like it's very difficult to have the resting time like a day. You know what I mean? Like the whole day is basically not an option most days, right? But if I need to rest by myself, this is what I need. Like I don't want any noise, any music, whatever. And that just sometimes ends up being the mornings, between whatever 8:30 and 9:30 when I usually leave for work, but my husband takes the kids to school, 7:45. So I have this cycle that it's not the whole day, but a little chunk is still okay, where you just stare at those dishes and you say, no, today I'm not gonna do them, right? Like I'm gonna go on the porch and listen to the birds because the spring is coming. So it's just really finding those moments. And I'm trying to find those moments at work too, where maybe I can go for a walk for 20 minutes because I have nothing scheduled. And that also helps because I don't come home so tired.
Yes. Yes. Just creating your own rhythm. Yes. Thank you, Dagmara. Yes, Auntie Patty.
Yes, three things. Well, one, Sharon, I thought that was so beautiful what you shared. that's really nice that you thought about your community, and that we're all one. That was great. Claudine, when you brought out your mom, it reminded me of a story of how our mom would rest. She would work all day and be really stressed out, and then come home, and then she would smoke a cigarette. She'd only smoke one cigarette, all day. But my sister and I always, sometimes we'd peek around the corner, and if we saw her smoking a cigarette, we knew that would be a good time to ask her for a favor for something. If we could go somewhere, stay out late at night. But anyway, for my own self, I know for me, resting for me is around, because during the day I'm just like Sharon. It's in our genes, I guess. My sister and Shawna, we all have that go, 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 do, 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 or maybe it's also part of our Cherokee Indian. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, that I want to be outside in nature. But anyway, but then around 7:30, it varies, but that's when I'll cook my dinner, and then I'll sit in the recliner chair, and then I'll watch my favorite TV programs. And since I live alone and my family's, back east, that connection too with humans, even though it might be a TV program, but whatever. But lots of times they have real life situations. But then usually I always end up falling asleep on the recliner. But what I do badly, or what I should restrain myself from, is when I wake up, I should go straight to bed. But no, instead, either I look on my phone, look on Facebook, look on my emails, or watch something on TV. So then I'll stay up for another hour or two. Bad, Patty. But anyway, I have to get out of that habit. But thank you, Shawna, for. I thought you were going to be coming from a different place, how to get better sleep at night. But it's good. But I like the approach that you use, from coming from a different angle. Yeah, about stopping, like you said, and resting. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you,
You're
Auntie.
welcome.
I appreciate you being here.
Me too. Me too. And I got Elaine on at the last minute. She thought it was at 10 o'clock. I said, no, that's California time.
Thanks, Auntie. Anybody else want to share anything?
Well, look at the Irish, everybody. St. Patty's Day is coming up.
St. Patrick's Day. Heyo.
That's why you see all the green.
Yep. Yep. And my peppermint patties.
All right. Well, Shawna, do you have any final words to leave us with? Words of wisdom?
Yes. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy, which I think means, that's the day that we have to think about our Creator, think about big picture, practice maybe meditation, gratitude. And it's true, only when you have this time, when you have this space, unless I'm a super sensitive person, but yeah, it takes me time to reach that moment where I am actually relaxed. And I think there's different levels of relaxation, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. But then actually, no, I can go deeper and deeper into the relaxation. And I think that's when it gets really incredible. And that's when I can have amazing ideas, beautiful thoughts, beautiful visions. My body can fully receive love and give love. Yeah, so just think about your week, think about your days, and how you want to include that. Yeah, thank you everyone very, very much. I wanted this to be like an interactive, and so thank you very much everyone for sharing, and I hope it's something meaningful, because you being here means that you're also trying to either receive or give something, and this is your time, and it's precious. Time is luxury. So thank you, everyone, and I hope this is meaningful for you in your upcoming days and weeks.
Thank you,
Yes, thank
Shawna.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What a wonderful presentation. We all absolutely can use more rest in the right ways for each person and think about how what that means for us, and then what to do with that precious time, and also to create space for, our higher power or the universe or God to inspire us to put those creative ideas into our minds and make our life even better. So it's a very powerful topic. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kendra, for being MC.
Yes. And
Thank
now
you,
we
everyone.
have Lisa's going to share the flyer for next month. Let's see what we've got. Ooh, it's Myrna. Now, Lisa, are you going to say anything about it? You want me to read it? Okay. All right. So next month, April 18th, we're going to have Myrna, finding balance between authenticity and connection. Ooh, that's a really good topic. So Myrna is going to share, explore two sometimes opposing forces in our lives: the need to be authentic and the need to stay connected or attached. Yeah, authenticity calls us to honor our true selves, while attachment ties us to relationships, jobs, responsibilities that provide stability and connection. So discover how to strike a more healthy balance in your life. Ooh, that is a good topic. Love that one. Yes. All right. So join us next month to hear more on that. Thanks, Lisa. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend and find lots of meaningful, intentional rest.
Thank you, Kendra.
All
Man,
right.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Shauna.
Take care,
Nice
everyone.
seeing you.
Thank
Nice seeing John and Sharon. Yes. Bye, Shauna. See you before you know it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Auntie.